Hi friends, today we're going to continue working on positive and negative numbers. I'll practice a little bit of subtracting those. But before we get started with that, let's review what we talked about yesterday. Okay, so we're taking a look at my account balance right now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 positives. And then I added 1, 2, 3 negatives. Okay. So when I take a look here, I've got one more positive than I do negative. So 4 plus a negative 3 is equal to 1, right? Because I've got one more here. So as you begin to notice the patterns of this, when you see plus a negative, it's the same thing as simply subtracting, isn't it? Because 4 minus 3 is equal to 1, okay? So for this next one, I want you to write this number sentence down with me, and then we're going to change it because we won't always have these manipulatives to take a look at. So we want to start to develop some strategies to do this without those counters. Okay, so let's go ahead and change this problem. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positives and 3 negatives. So go ahead and pause right here and write down that number sentence. When you're ready, you can unpause. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I added a negative 3. So as I'm taking a look here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 4 more positives than I do negatives, right? So I'm hoping that you rewrote this number model as the same thing as 7 minus 3. When we add a negative, it's the same thing as subtracting. So 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. Okay? So this time I'm going to show you how to do the same type of thing and come up with some generalizations when we're subtracting rather than adding. Okay, so pause right here if you haven't got that down yet. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So let's take a look at this balance right here in this checkbook. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 3 debits. So we're looking at a positive 4. Okay, well let's say, oops, one of those debits was a mistake right there, so I need to take it away. So I'm going to take away a negative 1. Well, now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these and 2 of these, or 5 positives. So ask yourself, what could we change this operation to make this still make sense? Yeah, you're right. We can change minus a negative is the same thing as a positive then, right? So 4 minus a negative 1 was the same thing as simply saying 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. Okay, let's change this account balance up a little bit. Okay, let's check out this account balance here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go ahead and make it 7, 8. Well, let's go ahead and put this account in the red. So let's take some of these away. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have an account balance of negative 2 right now. Okay, well, let's say, oops, we weren't supposed to put one of these positive cash cards in there. Let's say that was a mistake. They didn't earn that money. So we're going to take away that 1, right? We're taking away, it's a positive 1, if you think about it that way, although we don't need to write that positive right there. When there's not a negative, we assume then it's positive. So I did 2, I'm a negative 2, and I'm taking away one of these. So now I've got more get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 debits and only 3 cash. So negative 2 minus 1 is 1, 2, 3, negative 3 right here. Well, it's really hard to do, to think about without those manipulatives there in front of you. So you might think about, we know subtraction is going back 1, right? Negative 2, backwards a space. Oh, that's negative 3. Well, what could you change that operation to make that still make sense? That's right, subtracting is the same thing as adding a negative. So I had negative 2 plus a negative 1. Oh, that's the same thing. Negative 2, another negative 1, so I've got negative 3. Okay, so let's practice the same thing here without those manipulatives at all. So you had a account balance of 10. And I'm going to subtract 3. Well, 10 minus 3 we know obviously is 7. Okay? But I could rewrite this subtraction as 10 plus a negative 3. Right? 10 plus a negative 3 is 7. We're thinking about this as subtracting. We're going to add a negative. Okay? So thanks for watching, friends. We're going to continue practicing the same sort of thing in our next focus lesson.